Hey, this is Enoch Chege, and this is my tutorial on how I made the photos or edited the photos on Photoshop for my music magazine covers, which was my context page, my double page spread, and my cover. So the images that I had were all raw, and they were all of a model called Lydia Gill. She's the person that I'm basing my music cover around. My music magazine around. So I first opened this NEF RAW file and opened it on Photoshop, and I was presented with this. With this, it allows me to play around with the lights, exposures, blacks, how much I'm able to see, clarity, contrast, and stuff like that. So the main things that I actually focused on was the exposure, the blacks, the brightness, and the contrast. So I messed around with the exposure until I got kind of like an exposure that I liked, where I can see a lot of her. Everything was still in detail. So I put it towards 145, understanding that I'm still going to mess around with the brightness as well. So also I messed with the black, so it doesn't look too bright or too like bland. It had a bit of color to it, a bit of dark, a bit of depth, create a good shallow depth of field as well. So I put the black around 11, and then I also mess around with the contrast to make her stand out more and for it to be more clear. So after that, I went down to highlights because you can see her forehead and her cheeks and her nose were very exposed. I turned that down quite a lot. Also with the lights, but that turns down everything else in general. I also worked with some of the shadows. I took down some of it, surround with the dark, so I can also get a depth to her color in her hair and her top. So I'm just going to open this image, just let it load. So yeah, so as it was like this, I didn't feel to edit her in any way with her spots or something, because I wanted to portray a kind of reality in a sense, because we're talking about Northampton College students and she is one, and we're not gonna I don't know how prestige the college magazine is or how good it is, but on my basis, on my kind of thoughts to it, I would have thought it's not that good. So I didn't want to edit her. I wanted to bring a rawness with this picture as well. So I just went straight ahead to working with the levels. The reason why I'm working with levels is to make her more darker, so it can come out with this black and white effect that I want. I didn't need to edit the colors because the colors would be edited while I was changing black and white, as I am gonna do now. So with the reds, yellow, greens, and so on, I just really played around with it until I got a kind of skin tone that really suited me or my taste, or suited her, to say the truth. So with the red, I want her to come a bit. I wanted her to come off a bit darker, so it can have a more black and white effect to it. And then I just raised the yellow, which is her main her main skin tone, or at least that's what's being registered on Photoshop. So I just raised that up. I took down the red a bit, just by 11%, and added the yellow. The greens are not really visible in here. If you can see, there's only a little effect around there. If you want to keep your eyes there, it's a little effect, and it only affects her hair. So, because I still want the black part of the dark black and white, so I just took it all the way down. Then this blue, this light blue, it just really changes her top. So I wanted to still get the Pink Panther and the Think and the Hot Talker and stuff like that into it. So I just left it, or maybe just raised it a bit. than the dark blue. It's just the overall creases and the part where the shadows really hitting the top. I took that all the way down to get a better effect. I maybe raise the light blue a bit. The magenta, now that's the Pink Panther itself. Like most of its skin, most of the character's skin, and the nose and the glasses, stuff like that. So really, I just got to the point where the Pink Panther is more visible. So I'll leave it at 300. So after I've done that, because on here it has a tint, I did officially have a tint on it. The tint is too bright and it doesn't come out black and white. And if you can see, some of the colors are molded together, they're not really visible, or you can't tell the difference between. I didn't use a tint on this little shortcut. I went and I opened it up from images and go to adjustment. Okay, so hey, sorry, I had to just do that. So yeah, I opened it up from images, went to adjustments. Okay, it's not opening up. Ah, I know why. It is because I have to flatten the image. Let me just flatten it, just layers and then flatten image. So yeah, so from here I went to adjustments, then went to black and white, and really I hit the tint button. Now the saturation allows me to see how much of the tint I get to see. Like from here it's at 0 saturation, so I don't get to see any of the tint. Then 100 saturation, and that's nothing but the tint. But obviously I don't want that because she mixes in with the background as well. So I took the saturation really low. I put it at 11 to be precise. That one I know. And I put it at 11 where you can see it's not black and white, but it's also not, you can still see the tint. Put it back to 11, there. So that's where I left it at, with this kind of, I don't know what this color is called, but I just left it around there. It's the first one that you hit when you place a tint. So just from there, I just pressed Command S, saved it as a TIFF, and that was it. I just exported it and put it into my actual magazine. So that's the first picture that I did. So there, as you see, I've saved it as a TIFF. And it's kind of similar. I'll just display with this on high quality so you can see. Slightly similar. Obviously, the pixels are smaller, and the tint is just different, but that's the similarities that I put it into it. Also now, with the second photo of my double page spread, I'll prove. With the double page spread, basically I did the same. As you can see, you can still see spots, and as of throughout all the pictures that I have here, you can see that it's not edited. I used a lot of composition of where I placed her. Like when I took this photo, I had this double page spread in mind. As you can see, it's just 2 pages, and the image, that one image, goes across the 2 pages. So that's what I had in mind when I was taking this photo, and which I did do. This isn't a finished product at the moment, but this is what I did. So I'll bring up this photo first. So yeah, with this photo's practically the same. I played with exposure, made it bright, but not too bright because I added in as well. So I did leave it to 1.25 and edited the light from there because I feel it's better just doing it I worked around with the blacks with how much I can see. As you can see in here, it's just got a lot of shadow down here, so I brought the shadow, I brought the dark way in, but there's also clarity between top with the T and her skin tone. You can tell the difference, so I left it around here, and you can still see the same kind of blurred effect almost because of the clarity and the darks. It kind of merges some of the colors together, as you can see there. Yeah, so I didn't really do anything here. Didn't play around with the darks at all. I just make sure I get the same curvature in the blacks with the shadow. I don't think you can see that. Yeah, the same curvatures there too. So yeah, I open the image. Just waiting for it to load up. And then I did virtually the same thing. I did not edit it in any other way. So just black and white. Played with it until I got what I wanted from it. Whether it's the blues over here, or if it's the reds. So I'll just put it at a point where it's roughly the same. Take the green down as usual. Blues are not that dark, so yeah, I brought it all the way down. Magenta. And obviously I didn't do the tint here, so I can just do that, flatten this image. As I've done now. And then work on the tint. So I just basically did this with all the pictures because I still brought a black and white element to it, but it still has an a hint of color towards it. So as you can see, I'll just bring down the saturation a tiny bit more so it can match, and they do match. But yeah, that's basically my editing. So I hope this was good, beneficial, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it. It's basically the same thing with this picture too. So thank you very much, and I will talk to you later. Bye.